Hi, we are here with Jesus Hernandez. Um, he's sitting in Mexico City, and I'm sitting in Querétaro. And he was part of the first generation for a program in a university in Mexico that is called La Universidad de Medio Ambiente. And he was part of the group and he was applying the whole process that we were covering in the program that was 6 months long. And part of the main intention was to support people to apply economics tool. So I was asking Chuy to share with us the case study that he was applying all the different tools to us to be part of the whole exploration of how people is applying these kind of tools. And specific in this specific case with Chuy, it's about a student applying these tools in a 6 month framing. So welcome, Chuy, and thank you for your time. So
No,
if
thank you.
you can share about the case study that you did with the program.
Sure. This is me. Thank you for the introduction. I practiced all my learnings during this certification course with a group, an international organization called Make Sense. Make Sense is a global organization that works on promoting citizenship, citizens' participation into solving social and environmental problems in the cities. They have an office. They have offices all around the world, and they have an office here in Mexico. And I chose the group Make Sense because I'm part of the citizen gang. Let's say that the voluntary citizens that provide workshops and hold-ups and sessions, innovation sessions with other social entrepreneurs and citizens to ideate or design solutions to some social and environmental problems in the city. And I chose them because I like the methodologies they use. They're very creative. They're very innovative. It's a group that works and commits to their purpose, and they really believe that social participation is important to promote change and to make an impact, positive impact in the quality of life of everybody. I started with them. We didn't work like, if we count the hours, it wasn't like a very strong process because they have a lot of things to do and a lot of events to work with. So we worked sessions every month, and then we had some online support, like some quizzes or the small questions that I would send through email, so they would keep on thinking on abundance. We started with the corporality exercises, and then we moved into some creativity sessions with using Legos and using some other materials. And at first, I was very impressed with the group because I thought, well, no, I still think they are a very high vibration group. I think they are very enthusiastic into their purpose, and they do understand the idea of abundance. But then I discovered that even though they understand it and they promote it as part of their work, and they even have the global office has a manifesto on how to promote social participation and stuff. In their practice, day by day, they still have opportunities about thinking in abundance. For example, there was actually the process was coincidental with a very strong change in the group because life started to do its business, and then the director of the office in Mexico City is leaving now in this month. There was a problem with the financial part of the organization, at least in Mexico's office, because they didn't get enough funding for the year. They get funding from very big companies like Citibank, Banamex, one of the biggest banks in Mexico, and Veolia, which is a French company based on or working with sustainable energies. And they got reduced funding. So they had these challenges. And at the end of the process, in the last months of the process, they had a lot of stress about it. So they started to go back to thinking into scarcity. And I kept pushing on, okay, what can you do? What can you do? Focus on your potentials. What is there that you can take a step towards instead of thinking what you can bring into your situation or your current situation? And
can
yes,
you share a little bit about the economics tools that you used during the process?
yes, sure. So, well, the first tool was the corporality activities, in which they discovered that there were some situations in which they felt uncomfortable and confrontational with among them in some situations. There was another activity in which we used it's like a photograph of the system, in which they had to do, also with corporality, they had to do like a photograph of, without saying anything, they have to take into position how they felt into their group. And that was very interesting, because we discovered there that the community booster, Kenza, she was connected to everybody. The two guys, and David and Claire, that were working together with entrepreneurs, were like close, tightly together, but not together with the rest of the group. And the financial part of the system, or the financial department, which was Fatima and Jimena, who was supposed to be looking for alliances and funding, they felt apart of the system, so they were separated. And the director took a position in which she was trying to touch everybody, but it was almost impossible because everybody was too far from each other. So that, during the reflection, we discovered together that she actually was feeling like that as a director, that she was trying to pull everybody together as a team, but due to the nature of their positions and to the difficulties that they were finding, she was feeling it like an impossible task. Then we also work with the agreements map. With the agreements map, we worked into discovering their current agreements, and then we developed some kind of a new way of using the agreement maps to design a purpose by naming the things that we have, or that they already had in the 4 axes, like resources, decisions, organization, and stuff. And then naming the actions that they could develop with the things they already had, or the resources that they had, and then the possibilities that could open or detonate. And with that reflection, they could build their purpose.
Okay, so I understand that you apply the embodiment exercise with
Embodiment.
with also with this 4D mapping,
Yeah.
the agreements evidence map. And also I know that you apply the agreements health check. I mean the survey for agreements.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, the survey, which was very interesting because they showed like a high vibrancy level, and then as I think there is a situation, and it's important, and that's why it's important to have sessions with the people, because then you can discover that sometimes they may have the idea of abundance and high vibrancy, like an ideal in their heads, but not in their practice. And I also used sources of creativity. We work sources of creativity with Legos and with empty paper rolls.
So you were designing with different kinds of tools and processes and materials to get people inside the conversation of the agreements and abundance and purpose. I mean, that was like the design you were like giving them during the process. So what were the key insights or the key shifts in this specific group?
One of the things that I discovered about the group, and that I think it's general with the groups, is that one of the main thing that we need to have is a purpose. And the purpose that they set themselves after analyzing these resources, actions, and possibilities that they could develop was a very beautiful one. They wanted to feel like a family, cohesive and supportive, with a commitment to solving or to promoting the solution of social and environmental issues in the city. But then I think that what I could suggest in further processes in my case is never to to find a place where they can have that purpose every day reminded, because, well, there's another thing. They were entering into a crisis that became evident after some of the sessions that I started with them. I'm not sure if the sessions detonated some of these situations, but they lost enough. They changed the office, and when they were remodeling the office, the earthquake came, and they lost the office. And so that was like
September 2017.
Yes, September 19th to 2017. They lost the office after the earthquake. They all felt like, really, because one of them lost the apartment she was living in, and it was very difficult for the whole team to come up with that, because some of the things that they said is that they wanted to be supportive to the citizens, as makes sense, after this crisis, after the earthquake, but they couldn't do that because they were affected by it, and so they were frustrated with that. It was very difficult for them to find a new office. So during several months, like 2 or 3 months, they were they were home officing, and it was very difficult to get them together. So we would meet at one of their homes, and then, as it was like a more informal environment, it was very difficult to work with, because we didn't have the equipment, like tables or training spaces or boards to write on ideas and stuff. So in that situation, I also took a part of like a more on the listening side, because they needed it, and they needed it to express how they were feeling. They needed to converse around these issues that were happening, because right after that, the dissolution of the team came because of orders from the global office, not because they wanted to, because the global office started to see, we need results, we need this, we need that. So the director is leaving. The community booster is going to take the direction now, Kenza. They have new members coming in. And the two that were working with innovation and entrepreneurism, they switched positions. So there are a lot of different changes now, and we are going to start the process again, to introduce the new members and see what we can come up with, probably a new purpose, or and see how we can continue working towards abundance. And that's one thing. And the other thing that I think it's very important is that I didn't want to feel myself like, or I didn't want to put myself like intrusive. But I think I need to be a little bit more intrusive in a sense of, for example, what came up to me is making a WhatsApp group. And I don't want to stalk them or to be after them all the time, but probably send them every now and then like messages in what situation of a scarcity have you found today? How can you turn it into abundance? Just to make them continue thinking about that. I think that could be a good choice and a good option to keep pushing that I mean, in the in between of the sessions, because it's a long time between the sessions.
So what I understand is that you had this process, and more or less at the end of the process, it was this big crisis coming from outside and from the inside of the group.
Yeah.
And then everything was like breaking up or something. But then they are coming back to you to ask you to co-host again the process to bring back this conversation around agreements and abundance, and just to get everything together again. I mean, and that's very valid and useful because they were having a very big crisis for different reasons.
Mhm.
Um, so one last question for you is, what do you think it was like the biggest impact that happened in the process, and what do you envision happening next, now that, I mean, I know that you haven't met the group yet, but it's just to hear, what do you see yourself as a co-host of this specific group?
Okay. Well, to cite some of the things I've heard from their reflections is that they were excited to about the possibilities that they presented themselves to, just because of this thinking of abundance instead of a scarcity. They realized that it was very difficult to change because they were very used to thinking of a scarcity. And actually, when we had this discussion about their financial status, their financial situation, the question was, okay, you're just telling me about the things that you're missing, the things that you don't have. What do you have now in this very moment to produce income? And they started to find solutions that they are trying to put into practice. They can sell courses, they can sell coaching, they can sell a lot of services that they are not doing and they are supposed to be doing, but they didn't have them in the radar. And those are possibilities that they were finding. And then two of the persons, of the people that are leaving, Jimena and Fatima. Fatima is leaving, she's going to Ireland, and Jimena was let go. Jimena said that she was very happy to meet me and to meet the process, and that she considered that the situation was an opportunity to find to look for abundance, which is interesting that she has at least the intention of looking for abundance instead of saying, I don't have a job, I don't have. Then she's saying, like, what can I do now that I'm beyond this? And Fatima, she was very uncomfortable at the beginning, and I think she wasn't very clear in what she said, or she didn't really say it, but she let me understand that part of her decision to leave, because she wasn't let go, she decided to leave, was that she wanted to look for abundance someplace else, and then she wasn't finding it there, which is valid. At least she's understanding that she can create her own possibilities.
Okay, so the process was also like supporting this individual clarity of if that was the place they needed to be to contribute to whatever they wanted to do in their life.
Yes.
Was also part of the impact. So this reconfiguration of the group it's also a part of that understanding of if that was their place or not.
Yes, and because she told me that her plan was to found her own organization, to do something in Ireland instead of working for another one in Mexico. So I think that's a big step for her into finding or detonating her own potential.
Okay, so thank you, Chui, and this was one of um, the documented case studies for this program. The program was focused in co-hosting collective transformation with the Ecosynomics tools. So thank you, Chui, for sharing your case and application. And we will see what happened with this group in the next evolution, and
Yes.
we will have another interview with you.
We'll continue posting.
Thank you, Jay.
Okay, thank you.